Retirement looks different these days, and more seasoned professionals are asking if I need to create income in this chapter or start a new chapter or simply explore more of what life has to offer. Where do I begin? The short answer may already be in you. But here's another question. Are you and your brand the best kept secret? After decades of experience, your greatest asset may be what you already know. And today's guest has built a brand around helping professionals recognize and monetize exactly that. You'll meet her in just a moment. But first, we have to take a little break. Not to worry though, we'll be back in a flash, a hot flash. You know what we don't talk enough about? Energy. Reinvention takes energy. And sometimes the best kept secret isn't just your expertise, it's your stamina. My secret sauce? Bricker Labs liquid vitamin B12, glass, and folic acid, designed to support focus, clarity, and steady energy in this season. If you're building your next chapter, and I know that so many of you are doing just that, yes, make sure your body can keep up. Visit brickerlabs.com. We'll include the link and our AGG savings code in the show notes. And cheers to more energy. Now, back to the show. Hi, and welcome back. I'm your host, Marquita Curtis Haynes. I'm the CEO and founder of the lifestyle brand, Ageless Glamour Girls, which celebrates and empowers women 50 plus on their ageless aging journey, on our ageless aging journey. Now, today's episode is about leverage. It's about recognizing that your experience, not your age, may be your greatest asset. And we have a guest that's going to bring that home for us. She is Roz Miller-Choice. She's a speaker, author, award-winning TV host, and business owner. And she's the founder of TheExpert Maker and author of Know It, Share It, Profit, the 3-step branding and marketing plan to turn your expertise into profit. Yay. Welcome, Roz.
Thank you. Thanks so much for the invitation. It's good to see you, Marquita.
Yes, yes. You guys, she says, good to see me because Roz and I go way back in our New York City television news journalism days. She's still there, and I moved, but that was so much fun. I mean, we've been knowing each other a long time. We'll just go with that, a long time. And it's good to see you again, Roz. All right, Roz, as I mentioned in the intro, she is known as the expert maker, and we're going to get more into depth into that, of course, from the show. But Roz, why that name? How did you come about? How did that come about?
That name actually came about from a client. I was helping a client who had some expertise, and I worked with her to package that expertise so that she'd be able to create products and services. And one day she said, she had sort of an aha moment and went, "You really are the expert maker." And I thought, that is a good title. And I rushed to trademark that title right away. So
Mhm.
I have been the expert maker for several years now.
Oh, I love it. And yes, it is. It's a great title. So that said, when seasoned professionals come to you, are they reinventing themselves or repositioning what they've what they've already built, I should say?
Yes, and yes, both of those things. So people that often come to me are people who have been in corporate and are looking to transition into doing something else, into having something of their own, or they're trying to create a side hustle, or they recognize I seem to be building a message and a following, and I'm not quite sure what to do with that.
Mm.
And so they come to me when they're ready to turn that expertise or their knowledge or their know how into something. That's where I come in and help them clarify their message, figure out what it is they know, get it all organized
Mhm.
into a system. That's what Know It, Share It, Profit, my book is about. That
Mhm.
system of know it. What is it that you know? 2, how do you share it? How do you communicate it? And then 3, profit. What kinds of products and services can you offer with that expertise?
Okay. I like that. And getting back to something you said about corporate, maybe they've been in the corporate world forever and they want to do something different. Do you find that the majority of them want to do something related to what they've done, or do they just want to do an about face and do something totally
You know
different?
what? I would say 70% want to do something brand new. They
Mm,
think, listen, I have done this and rose through the ranks for decades. I want to do this other thing that has been on my mind, or the thing that I put aside because I was afraid of that and I needed to have a good job, right? And
mm,
so they're
mhm,
now looking at things that might be their natural talents or their passions that they had put aside. And they want to now turn that into something. So this is an wonderful opportunity for people who really just are looking to do more. They
mhm,
know they're meant for more. Very often, people who feel as though they have a calling come to me. And that calling may be to serve a particular population, it may be to share um, something that they've gone through. That's a big portion of it as well. That's one of the things
yeah,
I ask people often when they're
mhm,
trying to figure out, well, what is my expertise? I will ask them, what have you gone through? What have you overcome? And that brings up a lot. So it has nothing necessarily to do with the career that they've had. It may have to do with something that they had to overcome, whether it was a financial crisis or a crisis in their relationship, or
mhm,
they had to build special trade because something was going on in their lives.
mhm,
Well,
mhm,
more than likely, someone else is currently going through that. And someone who has already overcome can create a product or a service to help those who are going through it now. So
mm,
it's a variety of things that
mhm,
you can bring forth that indeed help someone else. That's the biggest portion of this.
mhm.
One thing that that comes about often is people say, "Well, I don't really have an expertise in anything," and that word "expert" scares a
See,
lot
I
of
was
people.
gonna ask you about that. Yes, yes, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, that frightens folks. They're thinking, "I'd have to know everything about this particular subject." Not so much. Very often, as long as you're 3 steps ahead of someone else, you can teach someone coming behind you. Right? You only need to be about 3 steps ahead of someone else, and then you can
Mhm,
move forward. Um, well, I was thinking about natural talents.
mhm,
That's the other thing. What is it that you can do so easily that you cannot figure out for the life of you why someone else can't do it as easily as you do? That's a key thing. It's like, what's that thing? That very well could be your expertise. It's maybe a natural talent or something that you've done so much that it just
mhm,
becomes part of you. You can do it in your sleep. That for someone else might be very difficult to do. And you can teach that or create a service around that, whether it is a coaching or a training service or write a book about. There's just so much that is
mhm,
probably stuck in your head
mhm,
that you haven't
mhm,
even realized someone else could um, get value from. You haven't
mm,
valued your knowledge. Very
mhm.
often is the case.
And it's all about empowering each other, especially women, women empowering women. And
Oh
you
my
never
goodness.
know what that value, your value will transfer to another person, as you mentioned earlier.
I'm so glad that you said that. You brought up the point about women, and very often that is, unfortunately, I have found that it's women who have undervalued their expertise or their knowledge mostly. I host workshops across the country,
So
and
true.
I never, ever have to say to a man, well, tell me about yourself. And they will
What is that
say,
word?
women,
Ego. Oh, I'm sorry. I just kidding.
it's okay. But women, I have to pull it out of them. It's like, oh, wait a minute. You studied emerging markets abroad? That's interesting. Oh, you've spoken at the United Nations? Oh, you have trained dogs your whole life, whatever the thing is.
Right.
I have to pull it out of them. But that's women for you. We have not been taught to truly value our expertise. We have been taught to be demure, to not toot our own horn.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
unfortunately, that's what will keep you being the best kept secret.
Darn. Oh, I almost said a bad word, but I changed it to darn. Because you hit on that, because what my next question was, do you think women were conditioned to downplay what they know?
Absolutely. It is certainly part of our conditioning. We are not taught to be boastful. As a matter of fact, boastful is usually seen as a negative. And that's not what we're describing here. I'm describing recognizing and valuing what you know
Mhm.
and accepting that what you know is valuable to someone else.
That's right.
That's what I'm asking you to do.
Mhm.
To
Mhm.
go,
Mhm.
I, I've actually lived a life, especially
Mhm.
for your audience, which I am
Mhm.
part of. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
You have to realize that we've been around for a while. We've
Mhm.
seen a couple of things. We've learned some things. We've
Mhm.
jumped through some hoops. We've
Mhm.
had challenges. We've had to come up with
That's
solutions
right.
for those challenges.
That's right.
And we've lived long enough to have earned the right to consider what we know as expertise. We've
Mm.
earned that right.
I love that. I love that. Now, continuing this part of this discussion about women, downplaying what they know. I had a conversation recently with someone about perfectionism. And I'm of the age, we're of the age, our mothers, our aunties, that's what they drove home. Perfectionism, perfectionism. Oh, that's perfect. And you have to do perfection. How much does that play into how we feel about ourselves, or downplay our value as being an expert in our field?
It's what I just described in terms of I don't want to consider myself an expert because I don't know everything. See,
Mm-hmm.
that's the perfectionism in us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Perfect story. Well, one, I have a saying done is better than perfect.
I
Done
like that.
actually gets done. Perfection very often misses the mark because they're waiting for perfection, right?
Girl.
So, example, my book. So, I will do certain things. I will pull the rug under my own self, like so that I will jump.
Uh-huh.
Here's what I mean.
Uh-huh.
I booked my venue and launch space before the book was finished because I was waiting for perfect. I was like, oh, well, you know what? Let me reread this and let me rewrite that. And let me... However, I knew that if I went ahead and booked the event party and the space, I had a deadline and I could not miss that deadline.
That's
Right?
right. Yeah,
People would be
right,
at a
right,
party
right,
expecting a book needed to be there, completed, right?
right.
So, but then the story goes on. Finally, get the book to the printer, and it gets held up several times because the PDF file wasn't right. And this particular printer is very particular about the books that they uh, release. And they said, well, this isn't right. That's not right. Ugh. We went back and forth for a week.
Mm.
Finally, I said, I'm past getting it perfect. Let's just get it done.
Mm.
Because it was then, I think it was the Thursday before my book launch party. It was going to be on a
Mhm.
Sunday. And the printer is not open on weekends. So I had to have my
Woo.
book the next day. Right? This is how close we were coming to this.
Girl.
And so I just finally went, it's okay that it's not perfect. Just go ahead and print. So the printing company was going to close at 4 o'clock on Friday, not be open on Saturday or Sunday. So therefore, I had to go and pick up my books. No problem. Except my sweet husband put the wrong address in the GPS. And we ended up at
Okay,
the
there's
wrong
always
address.
something. Right? I'm sorry. I'm laughing with you. Oh my gosh.
It's now 4 o'clock and the printer closes at 4 o'clock and we're not at the right address. And they're not
I
going to be
can't.
open. I cannot, and I'm going, I cannot show up at a book event party without books. So we
Oh,
finally,
my
so I make a couple of calls. I'm like, I'm on my way, I'm on my way, I'm on my way. And we get there about 4:05 or so. And
Uh-huh.
I'm banging on the door. Like, I need my
Uh-huh.
books. I need my
Right.
books.
Right.
And I'm at the warehouse door. Finally, someone comes, opens it, and they said, okay, we've heard your cry. Here are your books, lady. Off you go. But earnestly, it was my trying to be perfect that earnestly almost missed an opportunity for me. And
See?
way too often we do that to ourselves. We slow things up or we actually don't launch
Mhm.
because we're waiting for perfect. And
Girl.
perfect doesn't really exist. Perfect is some weird thing in our individual heads. Do you
Mhm.
think that anybody else at my book party even had an idea of what the book was supposed to look like and whether or not this page was perfect and that was there? No,
None.
they didn't
None.
care. They didn't care. It's like, will there be content in this book that will help me? That's all they cared about, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, our own perfection is detrimental. So,
It,
as
it
I said,
really is.
done is better than perfect.
I like that. Done is better than perfect. I'm gonna have to put that on a little sticky note and put it somewhere around here. But yeah, but speaking of husbands, mine has saved me because he's like, oh my gosh, stop trying to be perfect. It's fine the way it is. Just put it out there. You know, you don't have to do this.
That's
And you know who else called me out on this? Chat GPT. She's like, oh, stop, something about perfectionism, and I'm like, wait a minute, you don't know me like that. You don't know me like
no,
that.
getting mad at
But that's a whole nother conversation.
it's a different
But,
different show.
but
Different show. We'll have to book a new interview for that conversation.
exactly. But yeah, you look around and and going back to my husband, he's like, oh, you're an expert at blah blah. I'm like, I'm not an expert. He's like, yeah, you are. I said, oh, I'm an expert at aging because I'm older now. So does that make me an expert or at aging, or do I need more credentials? Should I go back to school and get credentials? I think a lot of women get caught up in the credentials.
Oh my goodness. Do we or do we not?
Mhm.
And I can be guilty of that as well.
Mhm.
Just last year in 2025, I finished 2 additional entrepreneur. Now I've been in business for 5 years, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I'm past the hump of when most businesses failed. I'm past that, thank goodness.
Nice.
But there's always that feeling of, let me learn more. Let me get one more credential. So off I went to, I have entrepreneurship program that I finished at Cornell, and then
Mhm.
I went to Harvard for their entrepreneurship program as well. So yeah, we do get caught up in that.
Mhm.
Uh, I
Mhm.
love this. Talking about credentials and giving yourself permission to be an expert.
There you
Giving
go. Mhm.
just forget the expert portion. Giving yourself permission to share what you know, right?
Mhm.
Giving
Mhm.
yourself permission. And this is something that's I write in my book a lot about, whether
Mhm.
it's imposter syndrome or simply giving yourself
Oh.
permission because you've got enough credentials.
Mhm.
You've done the work. You're fine.
Mhm.
There is the sweetest little clip on social media that comes into my feed every once in a while. And it's of this little girl. She's probably maybe about 3 years old.
Mhm.
And she has managed to get into somebody's lipstick. I don't know if it's her mom's or aunt or
Girl,
bigger sister.
the Home Depot, that little she said she bought
No,
her lipstick from Home Depot or something. Is that
I
the lady?
haven't seen that one.
Oh.
This one, she has pretty much covered her face in this lipstick.
Mhm.
The lipstick is everywhere except on her lips. And her father asked, give you permission to put on lipstick.
There you go. That's the one. Yes,
I
that's the
gave
one. Yes.
myself permission. And that's something that we need to do. Give myself permission. Now,
Ooh.
granted, if you are in a field that requires some credentials, whether it's certain financial fields or therapy, that kind of thing, then go ahead, get your credentials, get those letters behind your name, whatever it takes, but then launch. Get ready to launch. And here's another thing. I think that talking about valuing your knowledge, way too often, way too often, people realize I've got some know-how, and you'll get that call. Can I pick your brain about this or that or the other?
Pick your
Of
brain.
course. And off you go, giving all of your advice for free. We're willing to do that. But I think that you give people, you give a disservice to someone that you are giving information to for free. Because one, you haven't packaged it in a way that they can follow it step by step by step by step, right?
That's a great point. Yeah.
By not charging them, they don't have any skin in the game. So they very well may not follow through. And the transition that they were, or the transformation they were looking to have, they won't have because they don't have any skin in the game. However, if they have invested in that information that you're sharing with them, they are much more likely to go ahead and follow through with the advice that you've given them. And isn't that why you gave the advice in the beginning? For them to have that transformation, for them to have a win?
You hit that right on the head. It is so true. The value part. Gosh, you do. They call you and you give a little bit here, you give a little bit there. But yes, I get
it's
that.
Not packaged.
Wow. Thank you for that eye opener.
It's not packaged. You haven't taken the time to go, all right, here's what you need to do. You need to do step 1, step 2, step 3. And then you also need to watch out for this. Definitely do that. And those tips and the tricks, you haven't given them that because you've forgotten that was part of the process. By packaging your process, packaging your knowledge, then you can truly offer something that is coherent.
I love that. Absolutely. That makes sense. I'm spinning right now. They're thinking about some case studies. Some case studies. And yes, and so we talked about credentials now. So at what point does experience become authority? And I know we touched on that a little bit, but specifically, do you wake up and say, oh my gosh, I'm an expert at this. Oh my God, I got this. I can now start teaching it or picking up, clients or charging for my expertise or, moving and transitioning to another position because of my expertise. At what point does that happen for you?
That is such a good question. And I don't think that there is a one point. I don't think there's a pinnacle that happens and you're like, oh, here we go. I think you start to notice, are people being sent to you for guidance? So for instance, if you are in the corporate world or even in your own social life, are people being sent to you? Is there you know what? Go see Marquita. She knows about that. Are there calls that say, hey, can I pick your brain? Well, have you noticed whenever it comes to a particular subject, people want to talk to you? I think that is there comes a recognition. That's when you go, a second.
Wow.
This must have something here. And I insist that they have figured out something that you haven't, that you are an expert. Someone else tends to realize it before you do.
That makes sense. The picking of the brain, when you think about it, it's like, what do most of the people around you and people you meet, what do they keep coming to you for?
Yes.
And that you're not, making part of your system.
Yes.
That is something to think about. And start, journaling. Everybody loves to journal, right? I would start writing that down. I'm thinking out loud. That's what I'm doing right now. Start writing down who and when and what. And is there a consistency?
Here's what you should write down. because that's part of the know it, share it, profit system.
Okay.
So here we go.
Yes, let's do that.
One,
Let's do that. Yes.
the know it part. Ask
Mm-hmm.
yourself certain questions.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be, what do people come to me for advice for? What comes to me naturally that other people seem to struggle with? What have I gone through and overcome?
Mm.
What do people want to pick my brain about?
Mm-hmm.
What are my passions? What would I do for hours and not even realize how much time has passed? When you ask yourself those questions, you will, and write down the answers, you will then start to see a pattern of, oh, wow. And then pick one. For instance, let's pick what people come to you for advice for. Write down every single thing you know about that subject. Here's an example.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you are a real estate investor and you've been buying properties or whatever. You don't consider yourself an expert. This is funny. I think we were up to about, I don't know, maybe about 70 properties that we had purchased before I went, oh, I guess I know a little bit about real estate investing. Hello. Did I need a building to fall on my head? That
Right.
just happened.
Right.
It wasn't a passion of mine. It just happened to be something I understood, and I could buy a house in my sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Part of my background.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, what did I know about that? Oh, I knew that you had to inspect buildings. I knew that you had to understand the numbers. If it was a multifamily, what were the rents? Where were the deposits? What was going on in the neighborhood? What other properties were on the market for rental? Who was the competition? What's the comps? What are other buildings like this going for in terms of price? When was the last one? When did the last one sell? What's the square footage? Honestly, I could just ramble on about that forever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Same thing with your viewers. What's that thing that people come to you for advice for, or any of those other questions, and then write down every single thing you know about it. That's the start of organizing and packaging your knowledge. From there, you have to create a system.
Okay.
How do I get from here to here? So with the example of real estate investing, how do I get from not having a property to buying my first property? What are those steps?
Right.
What's that process that I have to take to get from here to here? So you have written down what you know. You've written down what you know about that subject. Now you've created a system to get a person from point A to point B. Last thing is create a service around it. Now offer consulting. How to become a real estate investor. There you go. It's really very, very simple. But you've got to take those first steps.
I like that. Yeah, and just break it down according to what you're trying to do with your life and your goals. I like that. That was a great example. Now, your TEDx talk. I loved your TEDx talk. And guys, I'm going to put all that information, her link in the description, the bio, the description, podcast description. But I do have a question. Well, not a question, something that I observed that I love. And we've touched on this already. And one of the things that you mentioned was in your video was we tend to undervalue. I think that's undervalue. My handwriting is that our knowledge and our expertise. And then you also mentioned your life experiences are unique to you. Now, tell us about those two statements. I love both of those statements.
So the last one, your life experiences are unique to you. Very often, people will discard a particular subject that they know a lot about, going, well, other people are doing that already. There are other people that are doing that. Well, they're not doing it the way you would do it because your life experiences are different. You're going to bring to whatever subject matter or genius zone you have, a unique perspective. There isn't anybody on earth who has your exact perspective. Even if you're a twin, they're not going to have your exact perspective because they
Mhm.
will not have your exact life experiences.
Mhm.
So that's part of building a brand. And we haven't talked about that a lot. But when it comes to your expertise, you not only want to share what you know, you want to share it in your own way. You're going to
Mhm.
share it in your own way because one person who is doing the exact same thing will have a totally different customer attracted to them than someone who's attracted to you.
That is
It's interesting how the human mind works. There are people who are like, I don't want to deal with her, or I love her message. And they could be saying the same thing, but somehow the way one person presents something is
Mhm.
different. And that someone will resonate with. And
Mhm.
that's part of branding. Branding is you and what experience your customer has with you and your company. That's your
Mm.
brand.
Mm. And brands aren't the same today as they were back. I mean, I guess we didn't know about them as much, of course, back in
Yeah,
the day.
we knew about the big brands.
Right.
Um, Coca-Cola, Samsung, these
Kraft Foods.
brands,
Right,
we
right, right.
understood. We
Yeah. Yeah.
understood. But there were people building personal brands um, and have been for a very long time. I think
Mhm.
of like a Martha Stewart. Martha
Mhm.
Stewart has built a personal brand. No matter what you think of Martha Stewart,
Mhm.
she is a brand builder.
That's
You
right.
know her
That's
name,
right.
you know
Mhm.
her products, you know she's about lifestyle,
Mhm.
right? So there
Mhm.
have been people who have understood this personal branding for a long time. But now I have found that it is easier to create a personal brand than it would have been back in the day. Back in
Okay.
the day, you had to have huge marketing budgets in order to run ads. Now we have this social media platforms that are free for us to utilize, and we're
That's
not utilizing them to their full extent.
that's
But if
true.
you're creating
Mhm.
a personal brand,
Mhm.
you basically have your own broadcast system,
Mhm.
between
Mhm.
podcasts and social media. And come on, we have these free avenues for us to build brands now that didn't exist back
Mhm.
when Martha Stewart
Mhm.
was building her brand. Ralph Lauren. These are all personal brands.
Mhm.
They've become lifestyle brands, but they started as personal brands.
And how important is it for you to protect your brand, especially if you have a gazillion-dollar brand or whatever? Um, I was thinking how, for example, my brand.
Mhm.
I don't. I mentioned earlier that we talk all things aging, but politics is not allowed. That's a deal breaker. And so, in that respect, I
Oh,
do what I can to protect my brand, and I love the whole branding thing. I'm not gonna lie, I just love it. And so, what are your thoughts as far as protecting one's brand? How
I s-
crucial is that? And
I
how do
see
you do it?
exactly
How do
what
you
you
go
mean.
about
I
doing that?
misunderstood it first, but I've got you now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There are going to be certain things that are simply off brand. There are things that are not going to align with you and who you are. So you
Hmm.
may very well want to avoid them.
Hmm.
Um, so, for instance, I don't talk politics either. You'll never see my thoughts on politics
Hmm.
um, anywhere in my social media, in any of my speeches.
Hmm.
You're just not going to see that because that's not part
Hmm.
of my brand.
Exactly.
That's part of
Hmm.
my personal life, but it's not part of my brand.
Hmm.
There is a stylist who I work with stylists often for my clients and for myself.
Hmm.
And I asked my stylist to style this particular outfit for me. And she looked at it and she stared at it like, for a half hour. She went back and forth and she finally went, this just isn't part of your brand. This doesn't fit. Can we
Wow.
donate this? So even
Wow.
to the point of how you show up groomed,
Mhm.
um, that is really important to your brand. A couple of months ago, I was at an event where this young tech guy was the keynote speaker.
Mhm. Mhm.
And he had a very interesting brand. Again, young tech guy. He was in a black long sleeve shirt, no jacket, no shirt, no tie, off brand.
Mhm.
A pair of black jeans, and I want to say, I don't say it was sneakers, but they were some really quality sneakers if they were.
Right. Right.
That was his brand, and he was a keynote speaker. And once in a while, a word would come out. That's who he was. That
Mhm.
is who he is, rather.
Mhm.
That's part of his brand.
Mhm.
And that's how he shows up in the world. That's how he wants to be seen,
Mhm.
controlling the narrative. That's a big part of your brand and protecting your brand.
Ooh.
You've got to control the narrative.
Yes.
Don't allow
Mhm.
anyone else to impose on your brand. There is another woman, and I talk about her in the book. I've seen her at several events,
Mhm.
and she always shows up, and the word unkept comes to mind. She's unkept.
Mhm.
Her
Mhm.
hair never seems to be combed.
Mhm.
She
Mhm.
has a lot of stuff and a lot of bags that don't even match each other, just
Mhm.
tote bags. It's like, what is all that stuff you're carrying?
Mhm.
And for whatever reason, she drives me crazy. She absolutely drives me crazy. I cannot figure out how she has managed to come out of her in that condition. And
Mhm.
she's at
Mhm.
professional events.
Mhm. Mhm.
And, you know, I earnestly would not do business with her. And I have to be honest about that
Mhm. Mhm.
because
Mhm.
she doesn't have my trust. I don't trust that she would care for my work
Right.
as
Wow.
it needs to be. So
Wow.
protecting your brand is not only the name of your company, it's protecting its image,
Mhm.
whatever image you have created, because your brand is you,
Mhm.
but your personal brand is you.
And even including the say for example when you're approached by potential sponsors or somebody who who slides into your DM and all of that, you have to be careful.
You do have to be careful. You have to also be careful once you have decided what your thing is going to be, what your expertise is going to be.
Mhm.
You can't be, you should not be swayed by other people. So, for instance, if you decided, you know what, I want to be an event organizer, let's say that
Mhm.
event
Mhm.
organizing. I love to throw parties. I'm great at keeping all of it coordinated. And then someone comes by, a friend who's like, oh, and you know what else you should do? You should also make curtains.
Yes. Right.
That's off brand.
Right.
Granted, I might be able to make some curtains, but that's
Right.
off my brand.
Right.
And so
Right.
you want to be really careful about the outsiders who come in with lots of information. There's a lot coming at us,
Mhm.
but you want to be true to who you are and what you started. That's another point. Now that I've pointed this out, whatever expertise or know-how or knowledge you choose to pursue in terms of
Mhm.
your genius zone,
Mhm.
um, what was my thought? Forgot it. Ah, I remember.
Mhm.
Choose something that's going to last, have some lasting value. And when I say that,
Mhm.
you might want to avoid things that are really, really trendy that won't
Mhm.
be in vogue next year. And
Mhm.
choose something that you care enough about so that you can stick with it and be comfortable talking about it year after year after year as
Okay.
you build and scale.
Mhm. Mhm. I like that. And I should have asked this question earlier. Please forgive me. But how do you know that you are ready to start your own brand? And what are the, say, top three things you need to do if you want to build a brand?
Hmm. All right. So, when do you know you're ready? I think I covered that already. If
Mhm.
people continue to ask you the same questions, if people are guided to you about a
Mhm.
particular subject, you're ready. Let's
Mhm.
go.
Mhm.
You know, pull the
Mhm.
safety net, let's go. And the three things that you need to do would be to then organize your information
Mhm.
and then get visible. Start to talk about what you know, talk about that subject matter. It will do no one any good if they don't know that you know this, right?
Mhm.
So get
Mhm.
on social media and talk about that one subject. And again, focus. Focus is really important. Only talk about that particular subject matter. Because if you talk about this today and that tomorrow and this the next day, you confuse people. Clarity is important. You have to be clear on your message and your subject matter so that other people are clear. So I think those are the things that you would do. Start organizing your information and start sharing what you know.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, because you see, and I see a lot of followers, a lot of my followers, a lot of people on Instagram, and you look at them and you're like, oh my God, they're doing great things. They might have like 10,000 followers or whatever. And it's like, and in my head that they're a brand, but in their head, they may not be consider themselves a brand,
Yes.
and to know how to profit on that, you know.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
there's that. You see so much of that. And a number of people that I've met, a number of women. I'm like, you're sitting on something. You really should be doing something. So I'm going to start sending them your
Yeah.
way. I'm going to start sending them to you because you know how to shape that and see. It's like, oh no, you have something, and this is what you need to do.
Well, that's exactly
Bring it.
how the Expert Maker started
Uh,
because I had friends who had brilliance, and I could not understand why they were not putting themselves out there. I kept
mm,
going, well, people in your small circle know about you, but someone across the country can utilize what you know. And so that's how the Expert Maker started. I started because I was getting people out of their own way.
mm,
I understood that they needed to be visible. I
mm-hmm,
understood the tools and the marketing tools that they needed in order to get their message out to a larger number of people.
mm-hmm,
And I was not afraid of making them visible. I
mm,
didn't have the hangups about them that they had about themselves. And so that's how the Expert Maker was born, out of realizing, uh-oh, people are letting things block them. Their own beliefs or disbeliefs are blocking them. And I know how to get those blocks out of the way because I don't have those blocks for them. I got them for myself. I don't have them for someone else.
mm, mm. And it was born. And then when someone called you the expert maker,
Right.
it was like, it's on.
Exactly.
It is
Hmm.
totally on. I
You're right.
love it.
I was just doing branding and marketing, and then a client called me the Expert Maker, and then I went, oh, "Okay, yeah, I like that name," and I adopted that name.
Yeah. In my open, I mentioned about retirement, and how it looks different now. And we know that a lot of women over 50 are exploring the entrepreneurship, going in that role, more and more. Um, are you seeing more seasoned professionals exploring entrepreneurship because of economic shifts, not just passion, or is it because I know you mentioned passion, and if you're passionate
Mhm.
about something, you have to explore that. So what are you seeing?
I am seeing a couple of things. I am seeing those who've been wanting to transition. They started to have these thoughts back during COVID and then
Mhm.
decided to go back to work, working remotely. And they are now re-looking, going, I probably should have made a shift back then. So, yes, I'm starting to see that a lot. Clients are coming to me going, how do I make this transition? Also, um, currently, there are a lot of people who have lost their jobs.
Yes. Hmm.
Very often, these are people who expected to be in their jobs until they retired and they didn't
Exactly.
have a plan B.
Hmm.
That is
Hmm.
happening more and more and more.
Hmm.
Those people have come to me and they earnestly are lost,
Hmm.
unfortunately. They haven't even thought about, oh, this would be nice to do if I, had a change of jobs. They weren't planning on changing their jobs. The environment and what's happening and downsizing made that decision for them. And now they have got to figure out what's next for them. And I love giving this, the Know It, Share It, Profit system to them, because this is a system that relies on something you already have within you, right? You don't have to discover something new. This is something that is in you, within you, that you can bring out and then utilize it to monetizing your own message.
I love it. I love it. It's almost as if your message is has an urgency right now because of the
Yes,
items that you just mentioned. Um,
exactly.
Go ahead. Hmm.
Yeah, I was just going to simply say the book happened to have come out on its soft launch for Entrepreneurship Week, which was from the 14th to the 21st of February.
Hmm.
And so the book came out then for Entrepreneurship Week, but it is timely. It is timely for right now, for what's happening right now, for what
Hmm.
people need right now. It was unintentional that it came out that way, but I'm so grateful that it has. I think that this message and this system will be so helpful for people in need right now.
Wow, I believe you. See, you just convinced me, and I know that storytelling plays a major role in the book. Why is that essential?
Excellent. Because as humans, we relate to each other.
Hmm.
We relate to each other through storytelling.
Hmm.
You can relate to something that I've gone through when I tell you a story about it.
Mm.
So, in the book and in general, I'm telling stories. I'm telling stories about um, lots of different things. I'm telling stories about my own failures or mishaps. And what happens is clients or people who are interested in this work, oh, that happened to me, or oh, wow, she went through that and she's still okay. Well, maybe I can join into this. So
Right.
I tell the story about lots of things. Oh, you'll relate to this one.
Uh-huh.
Back when we were in New York and I was a reporter, I can't remember which station I worked for at the time, but I needed to do a stand up. And stand ups are when we take the mic and tell part of the story while we're on camera. That's called the stand up.
Right.
And I was still brand new. And I was standing outside of a high school and I was doing the stand up with my camera crew, and I could not get these lines right. I just couldn't remember them. I was flubbing all over the place. But what happened was school had let out. It was after 3 o'clock. School had let out, and kids were really interested in the camera crew and this reporter, and they had this little circle around me by then.
Uh-huh.
Finally, after I had messed up so many times, one kid went, "Is this the blooper show?"
Oh,
People think that I am comfortable on camera. No, I wasn't. And very often I'm not now. I
no way.
rarely do a live. There are people who just off the cuff can do a live, not me. I want to pre record just in case I mess up, which
Yeah.
is usually the case. But people relate to that story. It's like, oh, that's right. She's not perfect. She's been doing this a long time, but she's not perfect at it yet. Okay, that kind of eases someone else's concerns and fears. Telling stories is what's kind of the hallmark of creating a brand and building a brand. Telling your story so that people can go, I understand that. She's relatable.
That's
She's
right.
gone through what I've gone through. Let's work together.
That's girl, the relatability. And as you were talking, of course, that other powerful word came up, authenticity. Authenticity. And yeah, telling your story. People is like, oh, oh. It's like, and I think that's why the memoirs are so important too. That people love that. It's all about
Mhm.
relatability. And I wanted to ask you something about a quote, and you may have already said it, but what's that quote you're always saying And why does it matter?
The quote that I'm always saying is,
Mhm.
in order to help more people, you have to stop being the best kept secret.
Ooh, ooh, that's right. I like that. Explain that.
So it's something that we talked about. Um,
Mhm.
it is now your time to tell your story. You have to be willing to be visible in order to share what you know. You can't be
Mhm.
the best kept secret. You can't keep that information to yourself and people recognize that you have something to offer. You have to show them that you have something to offer. You have to show them that you have information that could be helpful to them. If
Mm,
not, they won't know, and you get to be the best kept secret, and you're not helping anyone.
wow. Love that. And something else you say, I think it was in the TEDx or maybe in the book, don't take your brilliance to the grave. Share it with someone who will benefit from it. That's brilliant. I love
Yeah,
that.
that's true. There is so much brilliance in people, and if
Mhm.
they do not take the time to organize that information, let someone else know, hey, I can help you. I've gone through this, or I happen to know about this subject. I can help you. That information gets buried with you.
Mm,
I have no intention of allowing my expertise, know how, or knowledge go to the grave with me. Now,
mm.
there may be a to do list that doesn't get to done that goes to the grave with me.
I
There's
like
always still a to do
that.
list, but my knowledge isn't going with me. To do list, maybe, but the knowledge doesn't get to go. It stays here to benefit someone else.
That is great. Now let's look down the road 5 years. What
Okay.
impact do you hope this book will have 5 years from now?
So it's not only the book, it's the system. It's that know it, share it, profit system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My hope is this: when I help a client gather their information, share it, and then they're able to take what they know and help others,
Mm-hmm.
it's like my information has minions, and there are people that I will never get to meet who will have benefited from someone who understood the know it share it profit system. And that is heartwarming to me because this kind of information that I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
can change someone's life, improve someone's life, and depending on the information, you could potentially save someone's life,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Depending on what you know.
Yeah.
And all information is valuable. Don't discount anything that you know. Nothing is little. If you're a gardener, there are people who want to know about gardening.
That's right.
I don't have a green thumb. I'd love to be able to learn from someone who, can grow plants in their sleep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Don't
hope
cut
I
yourself
answered your
short.
question.
Do not sell yourself short.
Oh.
And so I'm curious, what's next for the expert maker? You always have some stuff going on. I love it. You're continue to blow up your brand. So what's next?
So we are planning a tour. We will be in New York. We'll
Mm-hmm.
be in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to Philly, Princeton. So we're going with these one-day workshops
Mm-hmm.
where you can come and uncover your genius and
No
determine
way.
how you turn that genius into profits.
Are you? And I'm gonna have to go on your website or wherever and find the list because. Are you coming to Florida? That's all I want to know. Are you coming to Florida? Oh my gosh! But I would fly to one of those workshops. Are you kidding me? And
Yeah,
when are you
that's
launching
the
that? And when is that going to launch? You said.
we actually our first one is in New Jersey on March 28th.
Oh,
And then we're
nice.
going to be in Princeton in mid-April. But all that information will be on the website.
I love, love, love that. And tell us again about your book, Know It, Share It, Profit, the 3-step branding and marketing plan to turn your expertise into profit. How do we get a copy of that? And tell us all about that.
So we have a soft launch, and you can actually pre-order a copy before anyone else gets them.
Mhm.
And they're open to the general public, but you can go to K as in know it, S P, know it, share it, profit, ksp-book.com. That's ksp-book.com to pre-order a copy.
Okay. And thank you so much for the information. And of course, we're going to put that in the podcast description as well. KSPbook.com. I love that. You're amazing. Thank you so much. You inspired me, and you are causing me to go back and look at my brand and what I'm doing. And I'm going to have to call you. and
Please do.
because it's like,
We got to
there's so
talk.
much to it. And because, you have to figure it out. You, figure it out as we go and get rid of the perfectionism in our lives. And like you said, if there's something that you're passionate about, or if there's something that people keep asking you about, coming to you for, those are strong keys right there for your
All right.
expertise.
That's right. They
Yeah.
have figured out something that you didn't know yet, and that's that you're
Right,
an
right.
expert.
And is there anything else you want to share that we didn't cover? Anything at all?
Mm, 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 mm. You know
Mm,
what? I guess the other thing is
mhm,
you don't have to do this on your own.
mhm,
It took me several years to build a team that helped me to create a brand.
mhm.
And as the expert maker, you can find me on LinkedIn and on Instagram. We do offer services so that we can hold your hand and walk you through this process. We have workshops that we call Create a Product. And in a weekend, in person, we will go through this whole system, and you will leave that workshop with an actual product that you can sell on Monday morning. So Saturday and Sunday, we
Nice.
work at this product for you. And then on Monday, you have something that you can sell. We call those our Create a Product weekend. And,
Oh.
we do have other services, even if you want to reach out to me to have a clarity session. It's like,
Mhm.
Roz, I think I've got something. I'm not sure. You can
Oh.
reach out to me. We'll have a clarity session and see if we can really get to some real clarification on what you potentially have to offer.
Wow, that's a great idea. A clarity session. Yeah. And just take that step. Just take that step. Because we all have so much to offer, especially as you get older. We have, the world is our oyster, and we have a lot to offer. Roz, thank you so much for coming to the show. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, your link to the book, your beautiful TED talk. I loved it. Your TEDx talk, all of your social media, and your website. All of that will be in the show description. So everybody, don't forget to follow her. Subscribe. And just stay in touch. And also, of course, get that book. We all
Yes,
have
get the book.
expertise, right?
If you pre-order the book, I certainly will sign a copy for you.
Ooh,
Mhm.
I love that. Okay. I like that.
ksp-book.com.
That's right. That's right. KSPbook.com. Thank you so much, my friend, for coming on the show.
ksp-book.com. Don't forget that part. It's
Yeah, yeah,
ksp-book.com.
dash. Yes. Yep. And that's what I wrote, but somehow I didn't read it that way. Handwriting. Roz, thank you. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank
And
you for the
we will reconnect.
invitation. I appreciate talking to you and to your viewers.
Thank you. All right, Roz, Miss Expert Maker. Love it. Thank you so much again for coming on the show and sharing your expertise with us. And dear, bold, beautiful, brilliant women, as Roz reminded us, experience was never meant to stay hidden. It wasn't meant to be a best kept secret. It was meant to be shared, leveraged, and valued. Now, if today's conversation reminded you of something you've been sitting on, perhaps it's time to stop treating your expertise like a secret. Share it with the world. Thank you so much for your love and support, for following our brand, for supporting us, for subscribing to the Ageless Glamour Girls podcast and the YouTube channel, and for following us on all of our social media platforms, especially the Ageless Cafe, our private group on Facebook. And thank you so much for your continued support for our best-selling anthology, Ageless Glamour Girls Reflections on Aging, featuring some phenomenal women. And guess what? We're working on volume 2. So if you want to share your story, and I just know you have a great story to share with the world about your ageless aging journey, email us at info@agelessglamourgirls.com. Again, to be included as a writer, one of our authors in our next anthology, volume 2, email us at info@agelessglamourgirls.com. Thanks again for being here, and cheers to healthy aging and joyful living. Reconnect again real soon, lovies. Bye-bye for now.